freezing, the first day of the season. Yeah, when it comes to retrieving, old Duke's on his game. A John boat, a couple of mojos. Shoot, they gon' know that we don't play. Swampy feeling, some duck blind healing. High ball calling them old green heads back home. Keep your heads bowed, it's gonna get real loud when that 12 gauge choir sings out a holy song. Well, somebody say amen. Let's give 'em black water baptism.
Welcome to the Simmons Sporting Goods All Things Hunting Podcast, brought to you by Realtree Outdoors, Browning Firearms, and Browning Ammo. Here's your hosts, Caleb Wallace, Cole Barthel, and Kyle Bearfield.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 1 of the Simmons Sporting Goods All Things Hunting Podcast. This is a new thing for us. Going to be doing a weekly thing here and doing some informative things on duck hunting, deer hunting, fishing, weekly deals in the store, all the outdoor things we love. I'm Caleb Wallace, one of your hosts, and
Cole Barthel.
And I'm Kyle Bearfield. It's going to be a fun, entertaining podcast with a lot of information. We're going to try to make it as educational without boring you to death over here. But, for those that don't know Simmons Sporting Goods, and Caleb can tell this a whole lot better than me, but, you're going to get some key information that Caleb has privy to that most people don't, being one of the largest sporting goods stores in the country when it comes to new products, cool products, things that are coming out, things that are hard to find in stock, and we're going to try to share this information with you, on a weekly basis.
you act like I'm holding all the secrets here. One of the hottest things right now, or some of the hottest things right now, are handguns, ammunition, AR-15s, and I'm hearing from all of our customers they're going places and checking websites and going to different stores and they're out of stock or they're back ordered. Well, guys, we got it. I mean, we got high ceilings here and we got ammo stacked to the ceilings, 9mm. We're pretty stocked up on AR-15s. We're stocked up on 5.56 ammo, other calibers of handgun. But we also hadn't forgot about our hunters and our rifle ammo and our optics, our hunting rifles. We're stocked up on everything. We're ready to roll.
If you're over there listening and you don't think you can get to Simmons Sporting Goods because you're too far away, don't forget, man, they can sell everything online. Now ship it to FFL dealers near you, SimmonsSportingGoods.com. That's where you need to be checking on a daily basis for all their current updates and stuff that's just out.
People think, oh man, I can't get up there, I can't do this, but this online deal really has taken off, and Simmons has kind of led the way in this, just from the outside looking in or inside looking out, being here a lot and seeing everything, and not just with guns. And who would have thought you could order a gun several years ago online and receive it. And man, you can go into fishing. Fishing's taken off as well this year. I talked with Chucky the other day, and it's just
I thought that was entertaining.
It is. Every time I talk to him, it's entertaining. But the amount, not just baits, tackle boxes, everything. The distributors they buy from, it's hard to get it fast enough before it's leaving here, which is a good thing. We hope the country gets back to normal, but it is a great thing that you got a local dealer here in North Louisiana that's just been a big part of all of our lives in a lot of different ways, is doing so well, and we hope everyone's doing well, but especially right here in Bastrop.
Another point with Chucky and fishing and talking about the website, Chucky does a weekly fishing report, guys, for any of you that fish North Louisiana, or maybe you're coming up here to fish, don't know quite what you want to fish with, what you're fishing for, where to fish. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Chucky Darnell does a fishing report every week, very informative on all the area waterways for fishing.
What's the tag? What's the handles on Instagram and Facebook?
Facebook is Simmons Sporting Goods, and Instagram is at Simmons Sporting Goods. And,
very simple, y'all. You ought to be able to find that. Coming up, over the course of this year, we're going to try to do this podcast on a weekly basis, and we're going to try to have some of the most special guests we can find, people that you want to hear talk a lot more than us three, join us from time to time with a lot more knowledge and education and stories. But I know we've got a handful of real good duck hunters, especially across this Louisiana, Arkansas flyway guys that just kill them day in and day out, and they're the guys that all the local boys look up to see how to hunt and how to kill them. And like Rusty Creasy from Echo
Coca-Cola
and
Woods.
Coca-Cola Woods. He's a Realtree Pro staffer. We got we're gonna have the guys from R&T probably will come down and do duck calling things with us, and just a lot. We got some other special guests on the deer side too. I know one big name that's going to show up.
Waddell will be here, and Blanton will join us as well once we get later on to the fall. Michael Waddell will be in Bastrop on tent sale, Caleb, September 4th, 5th, and 6th. Is that right?
Well, no, Waddell will be here for no tax.
No tax,
tent sales,
correct.
So tent sales coming up, guys. Flyers, be looking for flyers in your mailbox here soon. Digital flyer will be online on Facebook and Instagram. July 22nd through August 9th are our tent sale dates, but every year there's a no tax weekend for all your hunting needs, and this year is September 4th, 5th, and 6th. And Michael Waddell will be here with the rest of the Realtree crew that weekend, and we're going to do a podcast. Of course, you guys try to get here and meet him, save on your sales tax stuff, and we'll hit on that as it gets closer. But be looking for a podcast with Michael, and that's sure to be entertaining.
And he said over the years, years and years ago, he used to bring people in and for these events, but he said in the past he hasn't done it. But a lot of people may not know that Jeff and Michael have been friends for a long time. Bill Jordan, David Blanton, they've all been good friends for a long time. But Michael and Jeff go way back to when Michael first started with Realtree and was a camera guy, and them turkey hunting together. And he's got several stories for him. So when he comes in town, he stays at Jeff's house, and it's one of those deals where he's just coming in as a friend, not necessarily as an attraction to try to get people to come talk about deer hunting, turkey hunting, whatever it may be. But it's really as a friendship deal. Michael does it just to come hang out. And he does it about every 3 years.
Every couple of years, whenever he can, he does. And it's always entertaining having Michael here, and I'm sure that'll be an entertaining podcast as well.
Just to touch on that really quick, and you kind of gravitate toward guys you got things in common with, and all of us love to hunt, fish, duck hunt, deer hunt, everything. But, man, you can use the word killers and this and that. You guys want to kill you 160s, 170s, 180s. I like to refer to Michael, you just on TV or online, whatever. Hey, the deer's 120 inches and he's old enough, he's going down. So
that's it.
Michael's one of them guys you can relate to if you're like us. But we all like to kill big deer, don't get me wrong, but that'll be fun when he gets here.
So, and back to the ducks and kind of the hatch report and the flyaway deal. We're going to try our best, guys. In this profession, we're fortunate to meet a lot of great people all over the country that are, outdoorsmen just like we are, passionate about hunting, passionate about fishing. And something that I get asked a lot during duck season by our customers and our people that hunt every day are where the ducks at. They were here, they're not here. And so the three of us are going to use our resources and really try to keep you guys informed on where the ducks are, what they're doing in Kansas, what they're doing in Missouri, North Arkansas, all the way down to the coastal zone of Louisiana.
And to elaborate on that, and duck season starts for us Thanksgiving, week before Thanksgiving.
Right.
Man, it starts in September for the guys up north in the Dakotas or in Canada, and then works its way on down. And with the people that we know, and we get to go up there at times as well. And we're just going to get numbers and try to be as accurate as we can, and with no false numbers. Everybody always talks about the flyaway moves. Oh, we don't get the ducks we get. But, man, there's been some guys that have asked for their names not to be named, and that we will share some numbers that they killed last year. And it's just some of it's true and some of it's not with that flyaway. I think, and you hear this and it sounds cliche, but it really does have to do with weather and food is a huge determinant on whether we have a good year or not.
If in December there's no frost on the ground in Kansas and Iowa and in those states up there, there's no reason for the ducks to come down here because there's plenty of food there, and there's no, nothing's frosted over. There's no reason for them to come south, and we're going to try to keep in touch with all those guys, like I said, all the way really to the Canadian border throughout the season, and keep you guys updated on what's going on with the weather and what's going on with the ducks and the geese.
No, you're right. That's one thing about us here in South Arkansas, North Louisiana, Central Louisiana, all Louisiana, South Louisiana, is specs, and it opens up a couple weeks early and kind
we
of.
got a little prize this year. We got a third goose. Usually in Louisiana we can only kill 2 specs, and now we can kill 3 this year. And that's gonna be awesome.
Did Arkansas go back to 2?
I'm not sure.
They were 3 last year, but I don't know that as well.
I'm not sure. I know we
didn't hunt as much in Arkansas last year as we usually do.
Come by Simmons Sporting Goods and check out the new A5 semi-auto shotguns from Browning, the best there is. Now back to the Simmons Sporting Goods All Things Hunting Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Simmons Sporting Goods All Things Hunting Podcast. We've been kind of introducing everything to you in this first episode and introducing Simmons and what the store is and who the family is behind it and the people working at the store. But we know y'all want to hear about some hunting stuff too. And the 3 of us sitting at this table here, I think we all share slightly different maybe preferences on what our favorite thing to hunt is. We all, being from Louisiana, hunt a little bit of everything. It kind of flips to whatever's the opening day tomorrow. That's probably about our favorite thing to hunt right there at the time. I know it is for me. When turkey season's about to open, I'm fired up. When deer season's about to open, I'm fired up. When duck season and it's right, I'm fired up. But sitting here at this table, I'm gonna say I lean a little bit heavy on the whitetail side, and not just killing big bucks, but the whole experience of managing a farm, growing big bucks, trail cameras, running the cameras, planting the food plots. Not just, they don't have to be big. They just more old, age kind of gets it for me. I was lucky enough on Cole's farm this year to kill a real good deer, a real old deer, big body deer. And it's a pretty funny story that I don't know if I should tell it or if Cole should tell it, and then I can kind of fill in. But how those couple days of hunting laid out was something that I'm a little embarrassed about and proud of at the same time, because it let me know that I hadn't just became too much of a stone cold killer. And it's, sometimes it gets business when we're filming and all that kind of stuff, and people say it turns into a job. But this situation kind of let me know that I still got a love for it. And I'll let Cole start it off from his standpoint, because I've heard him tell the story for him, but I want to hear it again.
Honestly, I can't even remember where I was at while I wasn't out there. But Kyle goes out there all the time. But I was like, he sends me a text and said I missed the 11. We had 11 point out there that was probably pushing mid to upper 50s, and a good deer. He was a good deer that and believe it or not, it's probably borderline. Could have went another year, but we weren't. It was a 4-ish to 5-ish deer. Of course, you'd love them all to get old enough.
Sure.
But we'll get into that later.
He was big enough that the neighbor was going to whack his head if he crossed that line. So we decided,
and I would have too. We were all going to shoot him.
Yeah.
We were all going to shoot him. And he sends me a text. I just missed the 11 point. I was like, just missed the 11 point. I was like, send me the footage. And that's always the next text. It's like, let me see the footage.
You sure
and
you
I
missed
believe
him?
it. We don't joke when it comes out. My next thought, of course, he hit that deer. He hit him. We're going to have to find him. He was rifle hunting. It was in January.
Yeah.
And I think I was sitting in a pit line.
And I'll brag a little bit too. I don't miss a whole lot with my rifle. I've actually missed more deer on Cole's farm than probably anywhere else in the country. But
you turn his knob on his scope now and then before he goes to stand.
Maybe on certain deer I would.
There's a chance he'd do that.
But and then he sent me the footage. And the sun, I'll give it to him. It was on up into the morning. He stuck with him that morning. It was probably at 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was cold that day, and he missed it. But man, I told myself when I saw it, and the sun was kind of glaring pretty good. I was like, I'm not positive that was that deer, but it may have been, but I'm not positive it was a big deer. And then we got to watch it like that. Later that night, the next day, he pulls it up on the computer, and I wasn't around or I wasn't looking, and he said, you know what?
I'm gonna cut him off for a second. There's a big part of this story that he's leaving out. And the most major part of the story is I was shooting his rifle that he let me borrow.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, the night before, because I had come into town for an unfortunate event that a good friend of ours, Mike Morgan, had passed away, and it was his memorial. And so when I was in town for a couple of extra days, and so I decided I want to hunt, but I didn't bring my gun. So Cole was nice enough to let me borrow his gun that could have been rigged. But so when I shot at the deer, and I'll step you back a little bit further. I'm hunting this road and self-filming, and you got to be on your game. And when the deer steps out in this road, you got to make a quick decision. And we got this big deer on camera. Cole's farm. He's got some good bucks on there. Got some younger bucks that you definitely don't want to shoot that were just very, very visible. And earlier in that hunt, I saw what was, I'm pretty sure, the big buck cross the road way down there about 350 yards. But there were some does feeding about 100 yards closer to me in the road. And he come out the road, stopped, looked at him, and he goes in. And when he goes in the woods, he's on the downwind side of the does. So I thought to myself, maybe I'm going to get lucky. He's going to come check those does, and there he is. And I didn't hardly get the thought through my brain, and I see the does just pick their heads up like they're looking at something, wheel and run out of there high speed, and I was like, here he comes. So, of course, my heart rate and my blood went to the roof, and started to turn the camera on, and I see this big horse of a deer step out in the road, and like Cole said, that sunshine was shining pretty good, and it does come up in the east. So I was looking at the sun, but I remember very, very specifically thinking, I'm fixing to shoot this deer. That's him. But I remember thinking in my mind, I might want to look at this deer one more time, real good with the scope. And about that time, he started to get nervous, and he kind of turned a little bit. And I said, "Nope, I'm gonna shoot him." Boom! I shot. The deer hauls out of there, and you know that if you shot a rifle long enough, that last burnt image in your mind when that recoil went off in that gun, I'm pretty sure I saw the bullet hit the dirt, behind or beside the deer, and that's never good. If you see the bullet hit in the scope, it's never good. And going back and looking at the footage, yep, sure enough, I shot about a foot to the right. And this is where, we can all agree to disagree, but a foot to the right, that's pretty bad. So I'm like, dang, guns off. Walk down back to the camp, look in the road, don't see nothing, shoot the gun's off. Now this is important because it goes back to what Caleb was talking about earlier, that we can wreak havoc on a firearm. And so I'm pretty sure that riding four-wheelers and all that, and we're joking about it. Cole didn't twist the scope, but it was shooting a little off to the right. But however, I'll let Cole finish the story now of what happened later that day.
And then later that day, we started watching the footage, and there had been a 3-year-old 8-point that was impressive, but man, nothing, not really anything.
About 120 inches.
I don't think he was quite that big, but not at all. And it just blew my mind that that he missed. I couldn't see the footage that good, and then he sends me, he goes, "Oh, it wasn't that deer." And I said, "Well, what deer was it, you think?" And then later, I don't know if he told me right then, but later on he goes, "You see that?" He'd show up, we're looking through footage, see that deer right there? I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "That's who I shot at." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, Kyle, of all people. And then I started, he made a little comment a while ago when he was like, "Should I look through the scope one more time?" "No, I'll just shoot." Well, man, I got several friends that are like that, And I don't know even know if they're friends because, when you work so hard at deer hunting, I know a lot of, Caleb's got his own place too.
Heck yeah.
And man, we don't care. We love to shoot deer. We do try to shoot the right deer, and it doesn't always happen. But you got those friends that are just like, "Oh, we'll shoot."
Yep, that's it.
And
Horns, bam.
You got the horns. And
Some people see sausage and deer stink. They don't care how old it is or what the rack looks like.
I'm like, shoot a doe. Shoot a doe.
Exactly.
Shoot that. Let that 3-year-old go. Shoot a doe. And I'm like, the truck. He's got the pictures sitting right there on his phone. I mean, constantly you're looking at your phone when you're hunting, anyways, most of the time, and you're looking at deer or whatever. Who knows? If you're like Kyle, texting or whatever, or everybody else. But,
right.
No, I'm joking. But it's like the deer's right there, and I was like, how did he mistake 150 something? It's an upper, maybe 160 inch deer to 110, 15 inch deer. I'm like, no way. Of all people I'd trust deer hunting, he's at the very top, and I'm like, no way this happened. And it really blew my mind, and I was just like, man, I got a couple of friends who I don't trust, and I was like, man, I didn't know I was going to have to worry about him like that.
It can happen, man. You get shook up, buck fever. That's why we do
Right.
it. But that is a funny story
Actually,
that
I hadn't
happened
thought
last
about it in
year.
a while, so that's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
But the next morning, I was walking back to that road, and that was a morning hunt. And we'll get talking strategy and deer hunting and things, and we'll give you our opinion on what we think is the best on certain things, and you take it for what it is. It's just our opinion. But when I hunted that morning, I had to walk down the road through. We also feed in that road, and the deer bed right there on both sides of the road, probably not very far. And so when I walked in right before daylight, I could hear deer busting. And I just felt like when I was sitting in the stand the whole time that, man, I probably messed up, the first hour of this hunt note for sure. And so the next morning, I decided to wait until daylight. Now, when me and Cole hunt, we are hindered by the camera. Everything that we do is on film. We really don't want to kill a deer if it's not on film. So I had to wait until camera light. And we have really good cameras, so it's not that much later than normal. But I had to wait until what I wanted to do, what I thought, was if I sneak out down this road, when I peek around the corner, I can see for about 500 yards down this road, I will see the deer that have been feeding all night out in this road, and I won't bump them out. And if I do bump them out, but if there's a big one, I'll shoot him before I bump him out. And it may have just been a total coincidence and blind luck, but that's exactly what happened. When I peeked around the corner, there was actually only one deer in the road, and normally there's 6 or 7 of them out there. One deer, and as soon as I laid eyes on him, I didn't know exactly who he was, but just could tell by his body and how over the hill and mature and just monster, almost 300-pound deer. Standing there, I knew that was a shooter no matter what was on his head, just based on age. And he turned out to be just an old 8-point that one of another guys that hunts with us had actually let him go because he was trying to hunt a deer with bigger horns. But I was fired up, to shoot that deer. Yeah, great deer.
What was he, 6? I think
He's at
when we
least
look back,
at least
we looked back at
6.
trail cameras
Looking
and
back
had
at trail
him
cameras, yeah.
right at 6 years old, so awesome deer.
That is awesome.
But that was one that killed that deer. He's not going to win the big buck contest, but brought him in here, got scored, got my name, in to be in the $10,000 shopping spree. So
I think I pulled your name out.
they probably did.
You talk about luck. Growing up, I grew up on a rice farm, and we deer hunted, up in the kind of the pine woods of North Louisiana, just south of Arkansas, and grew up hunting with my granddad a lot. And he always told me, he's like, son, you hunting too hard. I said, what do you mean I'm hunting too hard? He said, and he always said that big buck gets ready for you to kill him, he'll look you up. So my granddad passed away senior year of high school 2 years ago on our farm. Best buck has ever been taken off our farm, and my biggest one to ever kill around here. I woke up that morning, I wasn't even planning on going hunting. Woke up that morning about 5 o'clock. I'm laying there staring at the ceiling. You know what? I'm going to get up and go hunting. It's cold outside, and I was like, I'm going to go to the closest stand that's got a heater in it. Drove the buggy right to the stand, and I'd love to tell a story about how I hunted this deer hard. I didn't even know the deer was there. I hadn't seen this deer. I don't have pictures of this deer or anything. And I'm kicked back in my chair drinking coffee with my heater going, watching YouTube videos on the iPad, just hard hunting. And I look about 400 yards down the lane. I was like, there's a deer down there. So I pull my binoculars up. Well, it's just, it's big. So I get up, get my gun up, know it's a shooter buck. Heart's just like you're talking about. Blood pressure's through the roof, heart's pounding. And, I've got a custom dial on my scope because we may have a 400 or 500 yard shot. Well, he's right at 400 yards when I range him. He's walking towards me. So I dial up there. Well, he keeps walking towards me, walking straight at me. Well, I range him again. Well, he's then got to 300 now, so I'm dialing down. And when he got to 250, and it seemed like it took an hour and a half while he's walking to me. Or really, he's walking at a fast pace, and he's walking. He's walking straight at me. He got about 250. I got impatient. I'm like, maybe I take a shot here. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. He's going to turn broadside, and I'm on him. I got him. That deer walked until he got right at 100 yards, turned broadside, and stopped. And as soon as I squeezed the trigger and he hit the dirt, I mean, that's the first thing I thought about was my granddad say, when the big buck gets ready, he'll look you up. And I mean, that's exactly what happened there.
That's right.
That's to a T right there. That's
Heck yeah.
exactly what he said. That's pretty awesome right there. Man, I don't know how many stories. I got a quick one, I guess, that maybe not my favorite, but it's one. We grew up hunting outside of Delhi and Waverly over there. We got a little farm over that way, and we would duck hunt in the mornings a lot and deer hunt in the evenings and vice versa at times. And this one morning, me and my dad were wood duck hunting, and we shoot them early on the bayou right there, and we shoot them, and then we always try to walk a few of them up after it was over. But he always carried this little 30-30 with him, because he was a killer too. Back then, I can't remember how old I was, probably before I was 10 years old. It was pretty much shooting what we saw.
He was bringing some meat
home. Oh,
home.
yeah, we were shooting. And I remember seeing, and we were creeping up on a group of wood ducks, and or just kind of sitting, waiting for them to kind of swim to us. And we were just sitting by the tree. All of a sudden, there's a doe pops up across the bayou right there, not 60 yards. And then there's a buck that pops up behind it. And he carried the gun. I was little enough where he would give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sure enough, he didn't give me the gun. He shot it. And I still remember to this day, I think I shed a tear. And I went home and told my mom. And she got mad. And then he said, if you ever do that crap again, you ain't going with me. I still remember that. And he was mad. He felt bad, but then he was like, dude, boy, you better not go home and tell your mom.
You done told your mom on
when
him.
we growing up
That's
in
good
Mississippi,
stuff.
we'd flip the three-wheeler in a day up those hills in Mississippi when we hunting near Port Gibson and all that. And he used to be like, if you tell your mom,
Don't tell your mom.
home, you ain't coming back to the camp.
That's it.
So, those are some of my favorite memories ever from back in the day.
Now we're
And I'm
telling
sure
our
everybody's
kids.
got 'em.
Now we're telling our kids that, but don't tell your mom.
Don't tell your mom, but if you don't tell me, I'm gonna whoop your tail.
That's right. That's it.
But
Come by Simmons Sporting Goods and check out the new models of the X-Bolt rifle from Browning. The best there is. Now back to the Simmons Sporting Goods All Things Hunting Podcast.
And going back to some more guests, some guys around here and some outfitters around here. Taylor Gilly, Dave's by down in, just south of here. Yep, just south of Rayville. Dave's by is a top outfitter, and Taylor actually won our duck. You guys were here for our big buck contest and annual duck calling contest. Taylor actually won the contest, and he's going to do a podcast with us. And then on further south, the guys down at Honey Break, we'll stay in touch with them throughout the season and how their season's going and that sort of thing.
We've got local guys around here that some of them you may know, some of them you may not, and they guide all over our area, but we're going to extend out as well too. But man, per capita, we've always said where we're at right here in Northeast Louisiana, there's more hunters. There's a hunter behind every tree is kind of what we've always said, and it really is, whether it's a duck hunter or a deer hunter.
That's, I think, going back to that for turkey season this year, I think there was 3 hunters per turkey in North Louisiana.
It probably was, and that was crazy. And I think the corona brought that on a lot.
It did. It did.
Fishing and turkey hunting.
It's a bad time to be a fish or a turkey this spring,
Big time.
for sure.
Nobody had people were quarantined, had nothing to do, and there's no chance of catching the coronavirus on the lake or in the turkey woods
when you're a better place to be.
Heck yeah.
And if they do it to us in the fall again, may be ugly on the deer and ducks as well.
Absolutely. That's why I like having an off day during the week. I got the woods to myself. That may not be the case this year. That'd be bad for me.
That would be. I feel sorry for Caleb sometimes and all these guys up here, man. They get these questions every day, and he's like, but they're in this store every day, busting their tails, and we're out there hunting and coming in and talking to them, and you can kind of see it on their face at times, like, man, I wish I was out there. But hey, I mean, it's just what they do and the knowledge they have here behind the counter and all over the whole store is pretty incredible, from clothes to boots to casual to guns to ammo. And when it comes in, the questions I hear is optics and guns. That's what we want the most knowledge about. When you come in, and bows as well, we'll get into bows as well, but man, when it comes to optics, when it comes to scopes and binos, caliber guns, we're not even going to get into that yet, because that's going to be a whole podcast on its own. We'll go into our favorite calibers and what everybody and the number one seller. But when we come in here, the first thing you walk back to this counter is usually you ask for Caleb, Hunter, or whoever's back here. They got a lot of knowledgeable guys, but man, going into optics, whether scopes or binos, man. Tell us a little bit about some
You
of those
know,
kind of questions.
and the main thing is, I want the guy to come in here and buy what he needs. You know, there's guys that come in here and they've got this scope. They're dead set they want it, and I ask them why. What are you doing? You know, this guy, he wants a first focal plane with target knobs, whatever, because that's what his buddy shoots. Well, his buddy may be a PRS match shooter. I ask this guy, well, what are you doing with it? He's, well, I'm just gonna hunt, you know, not shooting
May
past
not
a
have a
couple
clue
hundred.
what you even
Yeah,
said.
you're just gonna shoot past a couple hundred yards. I mean, well, you don't need to spend the extra money on knobs and first focal plane. You know, you need a better glass quality, just duplex reticle hunting scope, and you know, you get a lot of questions. And with optics, I'll say, you know, people ask what's the best. With optics, the more you spend, the better they are. Really, y'all have seen that in the years. Y'all have used them and all. And so that's what I look for. Hey, what are you doing with it, and what do you want to spend on it? You know, and we go from there, and we try to match it best to the buyer of what they're going to need to use it for. Because I want that guy to be happy. I don't want to just sell him something just because it's quick and easy and hey, take this, you're good to go. I want him to be happy. I want him to come back. I want him to tell his friends, family, and all to come see us, and we can hook them up.
And we've heard that time and time again. We sent people in here that say, hey, go ask Caleb, go ask Hunter, go ask them guys what you need for this. I mean, we'll tell them what we think they may need
Sure.
or whatever. I mean, what we use. But hey, there may be something else out, or there may be a lower version of that same scope or bino or gun, whatever, that fits them a little bit better. But man, having that knowledge, man, is impeccable.
You know, and we're in here working a lot too, but we're out in the field as much as we can. We use this stuff, and that's how you learn stuff, is you use it. And we're fortunate to get to use some of the best. You guys too get to use some of the best in this equipment in the industry, and you really learn a lot from that.
When y'all have questions and different things, man, on this social media, man, hit us up with any questions you may have pertaining guns, scopes, hunting, fishing. It doesn't matter what it is, and we'll try to answer it the best we can.
That's
and
another
we'll
thing.
find out.
That's another thing we try to do. On if you can look at our Facebook posts and Instagram stuff. Is we get hammered with questions on there sometimes, and we try to be quick to respond. Whether it's, I've several times just responded from my personal page because I didn't log over or whatever real quick just to try to get the customer an answer as quick as we can.
Tell me, I kind of consider myself a gun nut and an optic nut, and I always forget the difference between first focal plane and second focal plane. And
So,
which one shrinks the crosshairs?
First focal plane and second focal plane, your reticle doesn't move with
As your magnification.
magnification. Kyle uses the word crosshairs, which is a redneck term for reticle. So, which we can all relate to that.
Crosshairs,
So your first focal plane, your reticle does move as you change your magnification, and what that does is your holdovers, like just say you got a mil dots or BDC, whatever your holdovers are in your second focal plane scope. Your holdover is only true on your highest power or wherever your sub tension is. There's a few scopes that we've got a 5 to 30 scope in stock that sub tens at 25. So wherever your sub tens at, that's where your holdovers are true. First focal, your holdovers are true on every power. So, and that's why guys coming here, they want first focal for hunting, and for me, if I'm holding over, I'm on maximum power anyway. So, and that's just me. If the guy's just dead set he's got to have the first focal, we'll sell it to him. But really and truly, in my opinion, if you're not PRS shooting or some kind of match competition, you don't necessarily have to have that first focal plane.
I agree with you.
Some people, and Kyle, we'll touch on Kyle's. He is a gun nut. He's also possibly the hardest person on a firearm that I've ever seen.
Cole Barthel sitting over at the end of this table. He's pretty good too.
He's pretty good too. At any given time, these two got something in our shop that needs working on.
Yeah.
Usually, just needs a good scrubbing. I mean, gosh dang, y'all get some guns dirty.
The worst. I mean, it's June, middle of June, and I brought him a shotgun this week that's in bad shape from the past couple of weeks of shooting.
I just cleaned it a month ago.
Turkey season.
Oh man, it doesn't help either when we're turkey hunting behind the Mojo Scoot and Shoot, and we like turkeys that want to come fight us, and so we end up crawling on our hands and knees for miles and miles a day, digging that gun in the mud, in the dirt, and all that. But it's also why we shoot Browning. That way it still kills the turkey when it still shoots when he comes running in there. So
we've hit Simmons Sporting Goods, and where they can find us. Where can they find All Things Hunting?
So if you're not familiar with All Things Hunting, it's a TV show on the Sportsman Channel. It's our eighth year on TV, but the show's called Simmons Sporting Goods All Things Hunting. It airs on Wednesdays and Sundays. Sunday's probably the best time slot. It's 7 o'clock Easterns, but that show kicks back off this week for the third quarter, and it's going to run all the way through Christmas. And we'll have probably 16 new episodes, and we'll repeat a couple of them in there. But the 16 new episodes will incorporate pretty much a little bit of everything. That's why we named it All Things Hunting. Growing up in Louisiana, we've been blessed to be in the mecca of hunting in our eyes, and so you don't just deer hunt, or you don't just small game hunt. You wake up with or you grow up with a 22 in your hand shooting squirrels, and then you transition to deer when that season comes in. You bow hunt before you gun hunt because the bow season starts earlier. You grow up and learn to hunt, and that's just how we are. So that's how we wanted our TV show to revolve, and we didn't want to specialize in deer. We wanted to be good at everything. We wanted to duck hunt good, deer hunt good, and so we try to showcase that as best as possible on the TV show, and we also we don't try to talk too much, and we try to show you what you want to see. We like seeing deer get shot and ducks get shot, and we don't want you to be bored watching it. So I believe you'll appreciate the way we produce the show, and if you get a chance, check it out. We'd appreciate it a whole lot.
Cole, you hit on Waddell being a killer. You guys are killers too, y'all.
We try to be. There's a lot of killers in our area.
Oh yeah,
a lot of good hunters. We got a lot of good friends that are around. I brag on. I love Louisiana, and we hunt other states as well, several other states, and love going out. But we love staying home to hunt. And man, I really feel like in this Louisiana area, or North Louisiana area, and in Arkansas too. I went to school up there as well, so I know a lot of guys that hunt up there. Man, we got there's some quality hunters that are really good duck hunters, some really good deer hunters, and we're gonna bring them in. Some guys you may not know them from Adam, and we're just gonna bring some random guys that we hunt with, and to just get their ideas on different things. And I know we're all over the place on this one, but we're gonna zero in coming up. But man, we're gonna touch on a little bit of everything we can, and I think that's kind of what Simmons is all about. You hear about the number one gun dealer in the country. I think Simmons is probably in the top 3 in every category. I may be speaking out of turn here, but maybe top 5 in the country. We're not talking about, and maybe number 1 in several things, but when you go to casual clothes, boots, waders, decoys, guns, scopes, ammo, and we're not talking about in Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi. We're talking about in the country.
That's right.
Probably the top 3 in all those categories, and that's kind of like what we want to touch on, and Caleb may can attest to that a little bit better than me, but I know a good bit about that part.
If there's something that we get asked for here and we don't have it or don't carry it, we look into it, check it out, see what we think. If you get asked for it twice, you order it.
Exactly.
And so we try to have everything, a big selection, and keep everything stocked up, year round, and especially during hunting season. Be stocked up on you was talking about Chucky earlier. He'll have 10 racks of different game cameras up there. I think I don't know how many game cameras they make, but we must carry them all.
I've noticed game cameras, calls, and then shells. Whether it's shotgun shells, rifles. I've been in just about every big dealer in the country, and when I work, there's not another dealer in the country. If there is one, somebody please tell me who carries more shotgun shells, different kinds of shotgun shells. All the major brands, the brands you never heard of, and then the brands that everybody's heard of and has as many as they have, and you can always find it. Rifle shells as well, but pistol shell, all of it. But the shotgun shells is the most impressive thing I think I've seen in any store I've ever been in. And if there's a better one, I'd like for someone to show me or hit me up with it.
That's right. One thing we had talked about that's really, really special that Simmons does is they have the largest free big buck contest, I'm gonna say, in the world.
According to Buckmasters, who sanctions our contest, it is the largest free contest in the United States. Mm-hmm. And guys, if you kill a big deer, we would love to have you enter. My favorite category are the kids. Those kids come in with those deer and to hear their story and see how excited they get. It's awesome. Get their picture taken and tell us about the deer they killed. And dadgum, I get jealous of some of these kids. Some of them kill some dang monsters.
And the special thing about this big buck contest is you don't have to kill the biggest buck to win a very, very special prize. And what was that?
$10,000 shopping spree right here at Simmons Sporting Goods is the grand prize every year for the big buck contest. And all you have to do, any deer that enters the contest, whether it's a 165-inch trophy or it's a 5-point, as long as it's not legally taken, no high fence, has to be free range, it enters a drawing for the $10,000 shopping spree. And you got to be present the day of, which is always the first Saturday of March. You have to be present on awards day if your name gets drawn to win. And but that's a
fun day too. There's a lot.
That's a lot of fun. There's a lot
stuff
to do.
Outside, food. A lot of people here. That's a duck calling contest. It's a lot going on right then. And that's kind of a lull time for us all. It's before turkey season. It's after deer and duck season.
That's right.
You kind of look forward to it. But man, you speak of big buck. There's so many different categories. There's a big spike to the biggest buck. I mean, in
that's
different
a cool
states.
category
Go
too.
ahead.
Big spike is there's big spike. There's typical, non-typical, open. So in every year we've done a 4-wheeler. The largest typical deer within 150 miles from the store wins a 4-wheeler. Last year it was a Yamaha Kodiak 700, I think. Yamaha partnered up with Realtree to do that. And but yeah, there's a biggest 5-point, biggest 6-point, biggest 7-point, and so it brings a lot of different deer you get to see. And I like seeing deer that are unique. You see a 6-point that's 135 inches. I mean, that's a cool looking deer.
That's a beautiful deer. And then you got your kids division, women's division,
that's
men's
right.
division. So man, you have a legitimate chance of winning. In what is it? First 2 or 3 places. 3 places get a prize on some of that. Or?
Some of them place 5.
5.
All the kids we do 5 places, and there were several other of the big ones we placed 5 places, and then some of them like largest like spike 8-point, 7-point. Those we just do 2 places.
And you have a chance to win the best gifts. I mean, what's the total figure on the dollar amount? I know it's a $10,000 shot.
Gosh, it's
I don't want to say one that I was off on.
No, and when it gets closer to time to start entering, I'll have an exact figure, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 in prizes that are given away that day.
I was thinking 250 to 500 on that,
Yeah.
and they're all laid out on this table, and it's humongous garbage sacks full of trail cameras, a camo, anything you can think of in the store.
Yeah.
And that
Waders,
comes from
rain gear, guns,
man, all these good
bows, crossbows, all our good vendors and our partners
and
help us
sponsors
out, with these prizes.
That's right. Before we get into talking a little hunting talk, one thing that I've always talked about when I introduce people to why they should shop at Simmons Sporting Goods is that, Caleb touched on it a little bit and Cole, but this is the stuff that hunters seek out, and they want the best brands. They sell the best products. It's not a box store that you're only going to get, what that box store's brand label is, and it may be junk from China. This is the best of the best, where you see capitalism at work. The brands that make their best products, that can really help you in the field. If it's available, it's going to be sold at this store, and that's one reason just to come in here and look around and just see all the cool stuff.
quality. It's just quality. It always has been.
And we're adding on. We're 70,000 square feet now, and we're fixing to add another probably 15,000 square feet of retail space, just because we're busting at the seams. We're out of room to display everything.
Hoping to be done by Thanksgiving, maybe.
Hopefully. So yeah, possibly.
Yeah. With everything hit, I know they wanted to be done before tent sale back in the spring, but it was tough back in the spring to get anything done. So bear with them in the fall, but it's not going to affect really any shopping.
No, it's
they're
not
going
to affect
keep
anything.
the walls in, and they're going to bust that one wall out at the last minute. So it'll be all rolling like normal.
That's right. Yep, tent sales coming up. You guys want to take a quick break?
Kind of finish this one up.
Wrap this one up, guys. We appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate y'all listening. We'll see y'all next week. Check us out at SimmonsSportingGoods.com. Like I said, tent sales coming up July 22nd through August 9th. Flyers should be hitting the mail anytime. There will be a copy on Facebook. There'll be a digital copy on our website. Set your DVRs to Simmons Sporting Goods, All Thing Hunting. Watch these guys kill some stuff. Instagram and Facebook too, right, Kyle? All Things Hunting.
Yep, All Things Hunting. That's right.
So check us out, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you.